Hi, and welcome to the YouTube channel of Canara Engineering College. In this video session, we'll be checking regarding the light emitting diode, which is a part of optoelectronics, which basically is prescribed by VTU for third semester of CSC under module 1 of analog and digital electronics. In the previous video sessions, we have checked regarding what is optoelectronics and what are optoelectronic devices. And when studying regarding optoelectronic devices, we also checked the basic classifications of the optoelectronic devices, which said that optoelectronic devices can be classified into two categories, one of which was converting light energy into electrical energy, which has already been studied under the title photodiode. And the title, what we are going to check out now, is a device which will be converting electrical energy into light energy. So LED, which is a very common name, which is heard by most of us, which stands for light emitting diode. So basically the LED lights, whatever we are using, is also a diode which has got the capacity to emit light of different colors. And the colors on which they are going to emit the light depends on the wavelength spectrum and also on the material what is used to manufacture those particular LEDs. So let's check out a lot detail regarding LEDs, such as working, how is it constructed, how basically does it emit light, and how does it emit lights of different colors. So getting back, what is an LED? So LED is a PN junction diode which emits light when electric current passes through it in the forward bias condition. Which means that when I speak about this particular LED, my LED what I have is also a diode. It is very similar to a diode what I have studied previously. So it's a PN junction. So it is made up of a P material and it is made up of a N material. So this is P material and it is N material with the depletion layer in between. As I said, you P material will be having holes as the majority carriers and N material will be having electrons as the majority carriers. So basically it's all made up of silicon and it's based on the manufacturing method we make it P type or N type material. So if I consider this to be a normal LED, normal diode, if you want to represent an LED, your LED is represented by two arrow marks going out. If you still remember, when I spoke about photodiode, my photodiode was also represented as a normal diode with two arrow marks indicating inside, which was saying that the light was absorbed by those particular photodiode and that same light was converted into electrical energy. Whereas in case of this particular LED, the light will be given out of this particular device, or it is going to give or it is going to emit light when electrical energy is supplied to this. So a device which can emit light or a device which can actually convert any form of energy into light, that particular devices are called as electroluminescence devices, or you can call that particular phenomenon as electroluminescence. See here explained. Electroluminescence is a property of the material, is a property of a material to convert electrical energy into light energy. So here basically I need not say it's an electrical energy itself, it can be of any forms of energy. But normally when you want electrical, I mean light energy as output, the input will normally be electrical energy itself. It will not be other forms of energy. In case if you can convert other forms of energy, you can call it by the same phenomenon. As it is electrical energy, I call it as electroluminescence, or you can just call it as luminescence. For example, you would have heard about the word bioluminescence, which was happening in the oceans very recently. So that was a biological process which was happening. But here, electroluminescence is happening because of electrical energy which is supplied as input to the device, which will be converting them into light energy. So getting back to the construction of this particular LEDs, the LEDs are normally constructed using P and N type material itself. So you don't have any variations with the construction. So you take a P material and you take a N material. And what are this P and N type materials made up of makes a difference. The semiconductor materials what I'm using in the manufacture of LED varies. It may be made of gallium arsenide, it may be made up of gallium phosphide, or it may be made up of gallium arsenide phosphide. So all these materials what I have quoted down here will be taken based on your requirements. Requirements in the sense the wavelength of the light what you are wishing to produce, or maybe the color of light what you are wishing to produce. The semiconductor layer of p-type is placed above n-type because the charge carrier recombination occurs in the p-type. So here basically they have told you what is the material that is used for the manufacturing. So you can take any of these materials, and out of this one can be made p-type and one can be made n-type based on your bombardment of the electrons or holes into the material. So once that material has been taken, what you need to do is you need to take an n-type material, and over this n-type material you need to place a p-type material. Or you need to diffuse it. Once it has been diffused together, you need to encapsulate it with a layer of silicon dioxide so that the materials what I am using for the manufacturing will not be affected by the impurities of the environment. But do take care when the manufacturing of LEDs are done, it is always the N-type material will be kept at the bottom and P-type material will be diffused to the top of the N-type material. It is always N-type material will be at the bottom and P-type material will be placed on the top. Suppose if you are asking me, sir, what if I do the reverse? If I keep P-type material here and N-type material on the top, probably if you go with this combination what I am showing here, this will not be able to emit light. If you are taking P as a substrate, or if you are taking P as a base material, and if you are diffusing N-type material on the P-type material, normally this combination, even though it looks out to be the same, will not be able to emit light. So in order to manufacture an LED, you need to take care that N-type will be the base or it will be the substrate, and on that substrate you are going to place a P-type material. The semiconductor material used in the LED, gallium arsenide, gallium phosphide, or gallium arsenide phosphide, this is already done. So after that, how we are going to place the material is also been explained. So the semiconductor layer of p-type is placed above the n-type because the charge carrier recombination occurs in the p-type. So why that combination is done? So basically you take an n-type material and you take a p-type material, isn't it? This is the right combination. Suppose if you go with the reverse combination, that is you take a p-type material here and n-type material here, this combination will not be able to emit light. Why this combination will be able to emit lighters and why this will not be able to emit lighters, the reason is given here. Because the charge carrier combination occurs in the p-type material. So basically the charge combination, that is the electrons and the holes, will be combining in the p-type material, not in the n-type material. Because of the combination happening in the p-type material, the light will be emitted from the p-type material, itself. For example, if the process or if you keep p-type material below the n-type material, the combination will happen here. But as the p-type material is covered with the n-type material, the light that is emitted by the p-type material will not be visible. Even though it is emitting light, the light what is emitted by the p-type material which is placed below the n-type material will not be visible. This is how it is actually the construction is shown. So you can see here, this is your n-type material. So here your n-type material, and this is your depletion junction, or this is your PN junction, and this is your n-type material. And as always, I said electrical energy has to be converted into light energy, right? So you are connecting positive terminal of the battery to the p-type material and negative terminal of the battery to the negative terminal. This is how it is to be done. And because of this, I can say the PN junction, which is the diode, is forward bias. So basically you need to forward bias your LED. If you connect it in the reverse fashion, this is not going to work out, or that is not going to emit light, because my diode LEDs cannot work in a reverse bias condition, whereas my photodiodes can do the same function. The functionalities are opposite, right? Photodiodes are going to convert light into electrical, whereas LEDs are going to convert electrical into light. So you take an LED and you connect it to a battery. Once you connect it to a battery, it will be emitting light. But during the construction, what I need to take care here is I need to take care the lower layer. That is, for example, if you say this is your N-type material, if this is your N-type material and this is your P-type material, all this regions what I'm going to shade up here, the regions what I'm going to shade up here, or maybe I can say this wall and the lower wall and the side wall, all these walls should be coated with a gold film cathode connection. Gold film cathode connection is, it's just a reflective material what is connected at the inner side of the diode, inner side of the LED. Why it is connected as, in case if there are light which are going and hitting the surface, or in case if the light that is emitted by the p-type material goes and hits to the surface, this material are 100% reflective, which means whatever light is going to hit the surface will be redirected back to the front side itself. You can observe it. If you can take a small LED, on the back side of that LED, you can see at least a silver foil kind of coating, which is basically connected in order to make it, or in order to make sure the light what has been given to the back side of the LED will be reflected back, so that my LEDs will be 100% efficient in giving the light. This is how it actually, or this is how it is actually constructed. So take a N-type material, take a P-type material, combine them together to the walls of the N-type material and to the side walls of the P-type material, coat it with a gold film, so that it becomes 100% reflective and it reflects almost 100% of the light rays what goes and hits to that particular wall. Other than that, you can have some terminals. You can have a terminal. You can have a terminal for the P-type material and you can have a terminal for the N-type material, to which you actually can connect the batteries. You would have seen in the LEDs. My LEDs will be having the terminals, right? So those terminals are the metallic contacts which are used to make connections to the external world or connections to the battery. So this is how you basically are going to construct the LED. See, it's given here. The step-by-step construction is given. The P-type layer is formed from diffusion of semiconductor material. So what basically you have is, you have N substrate. You are going to place a P-type material on this by diffusion. The metal film is placed on the P-type layer to provide anode connection to the diode. So you keep a metal layer here and you keep a metal layer here, so that I can connect them to the battery. A gold film layer is coated on N type to provide cathode connection. The gold film layer of N type also provide reflections from both from bottom surfaces of the diode. That's what I have been explaining to you till now. So in case if light reflects back, or if any light comes to this surface, I want it to be redirected back. That's why I'll be coating this particular surfaces with a gold film, or at least with a silver foil, which is at least 100% reflective, so that my LEDs can be giving you maximum light. See why it has been coated. If any significant part of radiated light tends to hit the bottom surface, then that light will be reflected from the bottom surface to the device top. This increases the LED efficiency. So they have also told you the reason why a LED surface, or the why the LED bottom surface has to be coated, or why it has to be coated with a reflective material. It is not an anti-reflective material, it is a reflective material. Whereas when I spoke about photodiodes, you can remember the top of the photodiodes are coated with the anti-reflective material, where entire light should be absorbed. Whereas in case of this, you want the entire light to be radiated or reflected back. So this is regarding the construction. Getting to the working principle. Working principle is simple. You don't have to bother too much about this. So you have an LED here. So P-type material and N-type material. So obviously there will be terminals here. So this terminal is to be connected to positive terminal, and this is to be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. These are connected here. Now what happens here is, during the construction of this, I would have made this N-type material. The N-type material what is basically used as a substrate for an LED. This will have electrons, known things. So this will have electrons and this material will have holes. Normally when the manufacturing is done, this N layer what is used for the manufacturing will be having electrons which are at higher energy level, and this holes what I have here will be at lower energy level. During the manufacturing, I'll make sure the energy levels of them will be as it is described. Free electrons are in the conduction band of energy levels. So which means that there are bands, right? valence bands, energy band. The electrons in the valence bands will normally be having lower energy, and the electrons in the energy band will be having high energy. Holes are in the valence energy band. So basically that's what I have been explaining to you. The electrons in the n-type material has got higher energy level, and the holes in the p-type material has got lower energy level. Or the electrons in the n-type material are in conduction band, and the holes in the p-type material are in the valence band. So what basically happen when I connect positive terminal to the p-type and negative type to the n-type? So obviously it is forward biased. So there will be a junction here. There will be a junction here. There will be a junction here. So this is n-type and this is p-type. So this is at higher energy level. This is at higher energy level and this is at lower energy level, right? This is at higher energy level and this is at lower energy level. This is connected to negative terminal and this is connected to positive terminal. Because of the connections that has been done here, the electrons that are present in the n-type material which are at higher energy level, the electrons which are present in the n-type material which are at the higher energy level will cross this particular barrier or will cross this particular junction, and it will combine with the electron. It will combine with the holes. It will combine with the holes as it was happening in case of my previous normal PN junction diodes, because you want the current to flow, right? What do you mean by flow of current? Flow of current is nothing but flow of electrons. So electrons from the n-type material will come to the p-type material and it will combine them. Now understand this particular simple concept. Your holes are at lower energy level and your electrons are at higher energy level. Now if both should combine, this is in valence band, this is in conduction band. Now if both should combine, what is the criteria for them to combine? What is the normal criteria for them to combine? If both has to combine, either the holes that are present in the valence band should raise its energy level and it should combine with the electrons, or the electrons in the conduction band should lower its energy level and it should combine with the holes. There are only two possible ways. But can my holes raise its energy level? If the holes has to raise its energy level, extra energy has to be supplied, but you are not supplying extra energy here. So my holes cannot raise energy. Only way in which my holes and electrons can combine is the electrons which are in the conduction band should give away some of its energy. Some of the energy of the electrons which are in the conduction band, if they have to combine with the holes that are present in the valence band, they, when jumping from the energy band to the valence band, they'll be radiating the energy. The energy what is radiated by these electrons will be in the form of light. This is when the light is produced. This is when my light is produced. My light is basically produced when the electrons in the conduction band are jumping to combine with the holes in the valence band. But the energy levels are entirely different. So in order to combine, the energy has to be radiated. Whose energy has to be radiated? The electron energy has to be radiated. The radiated energy will be in the form of light, which you can see as an output of the LED, which you can see as an output of LED. This is how it basically works. See, concentrate here. This is forward biased. So you have an LED here. This is an n-type material and this is a p-type material. So p-type is connected to positive terminal is connected to p-type and negative terminal is connected to n-type. And as I said, my electrons are in the conduction band. During manufacturing itself, I would have taken care the energy levels of the electrons will be higher and the holes are in the valence band. So they have to combine. So how do they combine? So current will be flowing in this direction. Current will be flowing in this direction. So conduction, how do they combine? Electrons will combine with the holes. But if the electrons has to combine with the holes, the energy level has come out to be, or they have to come out to be equal. So how does it happen? Is, see, concentrate here. Electrons are in the conduction band. Holes are in the valence band. Now they have to combine. So if they have to combine, the electrons has to come to the valence band. Now if the electrons has to come to the valence band, they have to give up this higher status. Higher status means the energy whatever it is having should be given up. So when they are jumping from the conduction band to the valence band, the extra energy whatever it is having, that is being radiated in the form of light. That energy is being given out, and that is what you can see here. So they are jumping from this level to the lower level. So energy, this much energy is being given up. This much energy is being given up. So whatever amount of energy is being given up, that is the light. Now if you are asking me, sir, what about the colors or whatever the different colors? Colors depend on the material what you use for the manufacturing and also the energy level of the electrons. For example, if the electrons are at the higher energy level, if the electrons are at the very higher energy level, then normally the light, the color of the light what is radiated will be different. Suppose if the electrons are at the lower energy level when compared to the highest one, then normally the color of the light that is radiated will be different. That is what my normal physics also says. If the device has to jump from one level to other level, or if they have to combine together, that extra energy has to be given up. That extra energy what has been given up will be in the form of light. See, electrons emit electromagnetic energy in the form of photons. The energy of the photons is equal to the gap between the valence and the conduction band. So that is what I have been explaining to you. So this is conduction band, this is valence band. So I have electrons, protons, I mean holes here, and you have electrons here. So this electron should combine with the holes here. So if the electrons has to combine with the holes, they have to jump from the conduction band to the valence band. The extra energy gap, whatever it is having here, that should be given up, and the energy what is given up, that will be in the form of light. The energy of the photons is equal to the gap between the valence and the conduction band. So what is photons? Photons is nothing but light, particles of light. Color of the light can be determined by the band gap of the semiconductor material. So basically that depends on the energy that is being radiated, and also the material what I am going to use in order to manufacture this particular LEDs. So this is regarding the construction and working of your LEDs. Coming to the application of LEDs, you can write enormous or n plus 1 number of applications. Normal LED applications are, you can use them as lights. Nowadays all the lights, incandescents, or all the tube lights or bulbs are getting replaced by LEDs because the energy consumption is less. They are also used in most of the TVs. Whenever I speak about TV, I'll be speaking about LED TVs, right? Or you can see nowadays the traffic signals are also made up of LED lights. Also my computer screens, the digital computer screens or the displays are made up of LEDs itself. You are using them in calculators, you are using them in watches, you have got enormous applications what you can note down. So basically why LEDs are used as low energy consumption. The energy consumption of these LEDs are comparatively very less. That is why almost all the lighting devices and almost all the electronic gadgets which are using light sources are replacing the light, I mean the older versions of light by LEDs. So this is regarding your LEDs construction and its working. Thank you.